But he then, his father knew a Nazi official, a Hungarian Nazi, who went around and identified Jewish property for confiscation. And of course, the people who owned this property, the Jews, not only the property was confiscated by the Nazis, but the Jews were sent to concentration camps or shot into the Danube. The story was that he's his godfather or something like that. And so he went along with him to identify, when he identified Jewish properties. And he was asked by Steve Croft in 60 Minutes, the infamous interview. Didn't he feel guilty about doing this? Not at all. This was the most exciting time of his life.
Welcome to the Michele Tafoya podcast.
Rachel Ehrenfeld has done a very deep dive into George Soros. And you may hear the name George Soros a lot. He is getting much, much older, but he still has a lot of money. And that means he has a major impact on politics. You hear about Soros-appointed DAs and Soros-appointed this and that. George Soros has a view of what America should be that probably doesn't align with yours. And yet he has an influence that is far greater than most individuals in the United States of America. This woman, Rachel Ehrenfeld, writes the comprehensive book. It's like George Soros 101. And today we're going to give you the best of, the Reader's Digest version of that in this encore presentation with Rachel Ehrenfeld, and we hope you enjoy it. You know, it's interesting to me that you could write a book about a man who, when I go online and I try to search for George Soros, everything I get is sort of positive. Or the other part is conspiracy theorists say that George Soros ... It seems to me it would be very difficult to research this man. So how did you do it?
Very carefully and over a long period of time. And not actually searching too much online, but having real documents in my hand, speeches that he had given, articles that he had published, statements that he had made, that were published not only in the United States, but all over the world in different languages too. I had the original documentation, and I verified everything. The book has been heavily and thoroughly vetted. There are 100 pages of text, and the book is 280 pages. The rest of it is references.
Wow.
So I've been very, very careful, and I cite Soros himself a lot because I thought it would be good to show, this is about his agenda.
Right.
What did he say? What were his plans? How did he go about it? What did he say about how to implement it? And really showing what he has been doing all these years. And I started very early on.
Well, I kind of want this to be, in a way, George Soros 101 for my listeners and me, because a lot of people hear the name and don't know a whole lot. He was born in Hungary, right?
He was born in Budapest.
In
Budapest, in Hungary in 1930.
Right. And was Jewish, correct?
Yeah, he was born into a Jewish family. He made statements later. He declared himself as agnostic.
Okay.
And but he has been using, since he became active, and there was started to be criticism about his political actions, he decided that, wonderful, I will use the religion I was born into, which I really don't like, as a shield against my critiques.
Yes.
So everybody automatically, it's a very smart strategy. Everybody who dared criticizing him was instantly labeled as anti-Semitic.
I can tell you firsthand that little old me posting something on X on social media that questioned George Soros or suggested that he donated to a certain fund that didn't
Yeah.
really help society. That's putting it mildly. I was called anti-Semitic.
Well,
So
I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish, and I was born and raised in Israel. I am an American citizen as well. But nobody claimed yet that I am anti-Semitic, not on his side. However, I have been. There was a lot of pushback from. There are many. Unfortunately, there are many Jews who have been supporting the very lefty Democrat Party for a very long time.
mhm,
And I mean, in that media, I mean, it's Jewish media, you would think that you can actually publish information about how George Soros is actually contributing to the increase of anti-Semitism
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and encouraging it, and actually funding organizations that hate Israel, that want to see the Jewish state of Israel completely destroyed and kill all the Jews. He funded such organizations directly and indirectly. You would think, and if they are very lefty, well, if they are Americans, you would think that they would be interested in seeing, well, what the hell, who is responsible for all the open borders policies that we have,
right, right. So
uh,
many, so many
and
policies.
crime in the streets and drugs. You would think that they would be interested, but no, their curiosity stops at that point. I mean, writing this book, I have seen since now because of the war, because of Hamas, because Hamas attacked Israel, and because of the really explosion of anti-Semitism in the United States, which he helped to promote as well. There is more information about him. And I see when friends send me all kind of notes. You see, oh, here is somebody today, somebody published something about how he funded the Iran lobby during Obama, when Obama made this horrible deal with Iran.
Yeah.
Um, and in 2015, how he was actually encouraging and paying for the Iranian lobby. I said, well, yeah, I've written about it before.
Mm.
I mean, you can find it in my book,
Eh,
right? But apparently, people didn't pay attention. Most don't
Well,
pay attention now either.
I'd like more people to pay attention, and that's why I wanted to talk to you. When he was 14 years old,
Yeah.
he fled Hungary
No,
because.
he left Hungary when he was 17, actually,
Okay,
in 1947.
okay,
He was 14 years old when the Nazis took over Hungary. And he and his family adopted different identities. And but he said in different books and articles and interviews that he had given that he was very glad because he didn't look Jewish. He was blonde and blue-eyed. So it's fine. But his father knew a Nazi official, a Hungarian Nazi, who went around and identified Jewish property for confiscation. And of course, the people who owned this property, the Jews, not only the property was confiscated by the Nazis, but the Jews were sent to concentration camps or shot into the Danube. So they were killed. Soros, the 14-year-old, went along with this. He said the story was that he's his godfather or something like that. And so he went along with him to identify, when he identified Jewish properties. And he was asked by Steve Croft in 60 Minutes, the infamous interview. Didn't he feel guilty about doing this? Not at all. This was the most exciting time of his life. And that actually, he said, also shaped his character. Yeah,
Shaped his character.
we can see that now, or we have seen it since. Croft had asked him first, okay, so still you didn't feel guilty? He said, no, no, if I wasn't doing it, somebody else would have done it.
So he
To
was an
me,
opportunist, really, from the
well,
get-go.
he was 14 years old, and although
Yeah.
14 years old then, was certainly not 14 years old today, but he knew what he was doing. Okay, so he survived. Since then, and Croft asked him, do you apologize? No, he didn't apologize. He never said that he regretted what that would have been nice not to do it, that he's sorry, apologizing, nothing. So that's what shaped his character.
Well, you would think that a 14-year-old boy would be shaped by that for sure, but this is an unfortunate direction he was shaped. When he did flee to the UK, so you're saying he was 17 when
he went with his father in 1947. He went to attend an Esperanto conference in Basel, in Switzerland. And I actually have the list of obtained the list of the people who participated in this international Esperanto conference, which his father was a big fan of, and Soros as well. And from there, he he went to the UK. Initially, he wanted to go to the Soviet Union. But his father, his father actually said, no, you should go to the UK. So that's where he went, and then he enrolled at
London School
London
of
School of
Economics?
Economics,
Yeah.
and he studied there. Yeah.
And made a fortune as a capitalist, correct?
Well, he did. He became a banker, a currency, worked in finances. He became actually a currency speculator. And he came to the United States. And while his business was based here, in 1992, the headlines were, he raided the Bank of England. What he did, he devalued the British pound. It was before the EU and the one currency, and he devalued the British pound. And most people in England, I mean, their mortgages went up. They devalued the currency. It affects many people. He made. There are different stories that he made between $1 billion. No, he made much more. He made, as far I was told, by people who were part of the British government at the time, that he made somewhere between 10 billion to 20 billion pounds. Well, there is a big difference there, from 1 to 10 or 20, right?
Yeah.
He made a lot of money. And he didn't make, it was not really his genius. There was a choice to currencies in Europe. The economy was a little bit in upheaval. And the choice was either to devalue the German, the Deutsche Mark, or to devalue the pound. And apparently the choice was to devalue the pound. And I think that Soros was chosen to do that.
Chosen by whom?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I asked these questions in the book.
It is that time of the year when you're looking for the best Father's Day gift, the best graduation gift, something creative, something interesting. I have your answer. Jump online and go to besthotgrill.com. Besthotgrill.com. Because so many special events are coming up. And the gift that I know a lot of people appreciate is a way to get great grilling and healthy eating all in one. So if you want to honor someone this summer, whether it's a birthday or dad's, Father's Day, a graduation gift, do it with a gift that's going to be used, a gift that will actually be unforgettable, and a gift that is truly hot. And what do I mean by that? The Solaire infrared grill from besthotgrill.com. Solaire infrared grills, they're different. They heat up to 1,000 degrees in 3 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. They produce the juiciest, tastiest food. It's different than your conventional grill. It is so good. The char is unmatched. You might also be going on the road or having a staycation this summer. Solaire has hot and fast, portable, built-in, and cart models to help you step up your grilling game no matter where you are or what you're doing. All Solaire infrared grills are made in the USA and built to last. And more importantly, Solaire infrared grills deliver that wow factor that everybody likes to receive in a gift or a major purchase. Learn more about the amazing Solaire infrared grills at besthotgrill.com. I have one. I recommend it. It'll be the last grill you ever buy. That's besthotgrill.com. Solaire infrared gift giving at besthotgrill.com. So he has this Open Society Foundation, which sounds lovely, by the way.
Yeah, it's very Orwellian. It's very Orwellian. It does.
What is it? What is the goal of this Open Society Foundation?
Well, initially he said that this was named. He borrowed this name from the philosopher Karl Popper, with whom he was a student in one of his courses at the London School of Economics, and he said, "Oh, this is a good title, so I can actually name my organization Open Society." At the beginning, it was Open Society Institute, and now it became Open Society Foundations. It has many, 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 many arms, and supposedly it's to promote democracy, because Soros was under German Nazi occupation and under communism, and what Popper was preaching was individual freedom. Above all, that's not what Soros is doing, and that's not what Soros's goal is. And and many things, if you look at and if you see what the agenda and how he implemented it, still working, his son is implementing now more, it's actually doing everything in order to shut down individual freedom, close society, or really tribalize it by race, by gender.
We see that happening right in front of us, don't we? And we can.
We are living through it.
We're living it, and I just wonder why. Like, what is George Soros and his son Alex? What do they get out of this? Turmoil for sure,
besides personal satisfaction, I don't know. They are pushing this. George Soros is megalomaniac. Okay, he himself says that he thought of himself as God, and when he actually made a lot of money, he started to live it out, and boy, live it out he did. And so he really thinks that he knows better than anybody about everything. And what he did with his philosophy was really, he says that he's an unacknowledged philosopher. So he developed his own theories, which if you read them, it's really cruel and unusual punishment. It is, and I had to read everything. And it was cruel and unusual punishment. There is so much mumbo jumbo. There are so empty words that really, sentences that don't mean anything.
Sounds like some politicians I know today. What we like to call word salads that sound like a lot of terminology that gets us nowhere.
I think that actually, if you put him next to Kamala Harris, I think she would sound very intelligent.
That's not good.
But he has this accent, so I have an accent too. But because he became so rich, and because he used his money to influence politicians and to pay, and apparently American politicians don't cost that much. He sounds European. So he was able really to influence all kind of politics, and also he had apparently, again, I asked the questions, on whose behalf was it? Of course, it's globalist, we know that. But at the beginning, and as you pointed out, he made money because of capitalism. But it's capitalism for me, not for thee.
Right. Right.
And
Which is kind of what the World Economic Forum is all about,
yes,
isn't it?
yes, that part of it as well.
Yeah.
And also, he's been using really George Orwell's Newspeak, if you want,
Mm-hmm.
because everything is the opposite. And also Brave New World,
Yes.
which is really, and I recommend to read
I do too.
both
People
books.
read Brave New World. It's astonishing to me. Here I read it in the last couple of years and I thought, "Oh my god. This is this is what's happening right now and yet this book was written decades ago." I was
And,
astonished by that.
and we were given Soma, the equivalent to Soma, which this is the drug that everybody was taking in the dystopian dystopian government, whatever world that is described in Brave New World. And now everybody can take cannabis or whatever drug they want. Actually, nobody will do anything about it, right? And that's the gift that Soros. Everybody can thank Soros for it.
Yeah, you have said that that's really where he started trying
Yes,
to influence public policy was
yes.
with marijuana and legalizing
Not marijuana.
marijuana.
Initially, it was all drugs.
Okay.
But there was a pushback from Arizona. And why did he take drugs? In 1992, 3, 4, even 5, if you said, let's legalize drugs, people looked at it, it was unacceptable, it was unthinkable. But now, what's the problem? Yeah, it's okay. And drugs is supposed to be what? You are given now all kind of antidotes in order to be able to take more drugs and drug paraphernalia so that you can take more drugs, and they are selling drugs everywhere. This is really, and he managed to call it also, here is Orwell again, harm reduction. No, it's increasing harm, okay? It's not reducing the harm, it's increasing the harm and convincing more people to take drugs instead of fighting and really punishing people and giving educational programs like we had it during the Reagans, say no to drugs, and
Just
it
say
was very
no.
influential.
Just say
Yeah,
no. And
everybody.
that commercial, Rachel. This is your
Yeah,
this is your
that's
brain.
it.
This is your brain
Yes,
on drugs with the egg.
absolutely.
That was seared, no pun intended, into my mind forever.
Yeah, I recall it too. And what he did, and when he came up, why did he choose that? Because that was really something unthinkable and unacceptable. And he wanted to see with that, he tried to see how much he can push the American public, how strongly the Americans will hold on to their values, okay, to their principles. Well, he chose something good because drugs, many people. There was a drug culture here before during the 60s, right?
Yes.
And the 70s. So, but for him, it was really an attempt to see the first attempt to see how far can he push. So he decided to do that, and he succeeded. But he didn't go to Congress to try and lobby to change the drug laws. No, he decided to do it, and that was really his. He developed it very well. Since he decided to go to cities, to states, locally, and start changing, pay local politicians to an activist, and he created and paid for different organizations that will promote it to change the laws in the city, in the state. So that's what he's done. And by now, there are 39 states in the United States that are permitting the
Have
use of
legalized marijuana,
marijuana.
right? Right. Or
Yeah,
yeah.
it's for recreational too.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and now it's also, and of course, medical marijuana. And there is no medical marijuana, by the way, because even today, the FDA had approved only 4 medicines that have been developed from the effective ingredients of marijuana, from cannabinoids that make up that is in the plant. Only four, and and whatever they are selling has very high quantity of THC, the tetrahydrocannabinol, which affects the brain, um, and people are, I mean, it's a very strong drug. It should be only for whatever they are selling. It should be only 3% tops, but they are selling it in some places 75% to 90% tetrahydrocannabinol. Um, and You lose your judgment, you lose your, I mean, you are really, and you are enslaved. So when he started actually promoting it, he said, well, marijuana is not addictive. And even then, he knew there was plenty of research done by then to show that marijuana can be addictive and can be a getaway for other drugs.
Right.
And but he went ahead and he did that. And when Obama became president, and he of course supported Obama big time, Obama did not speak about legalizing marijuana, but he encouraged the attorneys, the federal attorneys in the United States, not to go after after drug crimes, actually. And he actually spoke about it, that how slowly he actually spoke on behalf of the Soros plan to go locally, to try and change the laws locally, so there will be enough pressure from states on Congress that eventually Congress will change the laws too. And this is what is happening today. That's what they are trying to do. I'm not sure that Biden will not actually legalize, will reschedule. Marijuana is scheduled now as a dangerous drug like heroin. And they are the Soros people and all the drug legalizers and Democrats are pushing to reschedule the drug, so it will be not a dangerous drug, but it will be like, I don't know, buying Tylenol.
You know, at the heart of our very democracy lies a principle we hold absolutely sacred: free speech. It is the cornerstone that supports every other freedom that we cherish. But we're living in a digital age, and in that, our discussions about wealth, our rights, and our future are being a bit muffled, silenced, overshadowed, however you want to describe it, in the mainstream narratives. And that leaves a lot of people feeling like they don't have a voice in the conversations that are really important to financial independence and security. And this is where wealth protection research steps in, armed with a mission that has never been more critical. Wealth Protection Research is not a financial advisory firm. They are defenders of free speech. They are committed to giving voice to the silenced. Wealth Protection Research tirelessly seeks out financial experts. These are the voices that challenge the prevailing narratives, especially as we navigate the uncertainties of the 2024 election. Wealth Protection Research has created a 2024 Election Wealth Protection Report. This is a free report that you can get. I'm going to tell you how in a second. It highlights the 3 best ideas for protecting and growing your money heading into the 2024 election. It contains ideas the mainstream media doesn't want to touch. And as I said, you can get it completely free by texting the word IDEAS, IDEAS, to 76626. Do that right now. Claim your free copy if you believe in the sanctity of free speech and the importance of financial freedom, like your financial freedom. Act right now. Text IDEAS to 76626. Get your free copy of this 2024 Election Protection Report. It is time to widen the scope of what we're told, to hear the ideas the establishment does not think you can handle, and to take control of our financial destinies. Text IDEAS to 76626 to claim your free copy. This open border here, you and I are speaking, it's December 12th, 2023. And the situation at the border honestly wakes me up in the middle of the night sometimes. And nothing quite makes my blood boil like this does, because to me it is reflective of how inept or how uncaring the current president in the White House is about this situation.
But Soros started with it in 1995. Soros started, this was right after he started with the drugs, he started also with open borders. Clinton was president, and Clinton had actually, a couple of years earlier, he changed some immigration laws, and Congress changed, and Soros didn't like it. So he actually started to give money to different organizations, NGOs, in order to provide legal help to illegal migrants, and also to bring in more illegal migrants. It started then, but with the Biden administration, that's really when they decided this is the time now to destroy the United States.
Who wants to destroy the United States besides Soros? I mean, are you saying that Biden's administration wants to as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. And all the radical left, the neo-Marxists, the woke, the president of probably the president of Harvard that wouldn't actually condemn genocide of Jews, right? That actually probably likes Hamas.
What do they want in place of? Because they, you know how they love to do this. They love to project. The left loves to project. So what they do is they say, this is a threat to democracy. This is the most, Trump is the most evil man in the world, and he's a threat to democracy.
What is democracy? What is democracy according to their definition? It's their definition. Yeah. It's not the definition of democracy of people. Soros actually decided that, made statements about how the Constitution is really, and it's an archaic document. What did the people about 200 and some years ago, what do they know about things? Things have changed. And he actually wrote some amendments to the Constitution the way he thinks they should be actually amended. I don't know. Maybe this. If Biden is reelected, maybe that will be next. But he had all kind of ideas, and he expressed all of them, or many of them. It's interesting. It's like when Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran say that they want to kill all the Jews, destroy Israel, and destroy America, the big Satan and the small Satan, you better listen to them, because they actually demonstrate that they mean what they say. And so it is important in a similar way to listen what Soros and his acolytes are saying, because they mean what they say too. Although very often you have to actually read Orwell again to be able to understand what they say, because everything that they say is really, everything that they mean is the opposite of what they say.
So they sort of twist their words to sound as though,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what's a good example of that the average person can sort of sink their teeth into to understand the motivations and the
take social justice. Okay. So people who are committing crime, if they are arrested by the fewer number of policemen and women who remained because after defund the police, if they are arrested and if they are brought to before a judge, first of all, they are released without bail, and very often they are not actually accused of anything. They are not indicted. They are not accused. People went. We have recidivism, on murder, on burglary, and not to speak about the fact that people are going to I don't know, Whole Food or Dwayne Reed with big brown or black garbage bags, fill them with all kind of merchandise. I don't think I never saw anybody or never heard any report that actually somebody at the door is checking whether it's only $950 that they are stealing, or maybe it would be only 800 or 1,000,
Right,
right?
right.
But supposedly they can take whatever they want for up to $950 in many places, and go away. I mean, so I heard people saying, "Well, I'm going to Whole Food and I'm buying stuff and I'm paying, and it's expensive. Why should I pay if somebody else is coming in? Look, and they are taking everything and nobody is stopping them, and they are stealing everything." So it causes not only chaos, it causes the society becomes people become insecure, very frustrated, and of course many people are being attacked, and there is nobody there to protect them.
So this is part, you're suggesting that this is part of the George Soros
This is
agenda.
this is social justice, and this is what he called also the drug legalization, because initially he didn't say anything when he started, but then he said, "Oh, okay." Like about a year or 2 years later, he started to, "Oh, it's more blacks who are being arrested. So okay, so it's also racial justice." Okay, so let's help the black population to use more drugs. That's what actually he did, instead of really reducing recidivism and helping the black communities. So one thing that he and his organizations have been funding big time is training for community activists, if you want. What kind of talking points, how to demonstrate, how to upset people, how to defame people, how to disrupt the general peace.
And does he
And
sell these people, the people that he's training? Is he selling them on, you're virtuous, you are doing this for the improvement of society?
Well, of course, but he's not doing it in a vacuum. The left has been very active in the United States. He has been promoting that a lot, but he's not the only one. And the left really never left the United States, okay? So although we fought communism and Reagan managed to starve the Soviet Union, and Soviet Union imploded. But communism didn't die, and we have communism is alive and well. They call it different things now, but it's there, and it's the basis for all these so-called different justices, and convolution and distortion of every value, of every Judeo-Christian value, of every American value, of the American Constitution, of law and order, to create chaos, and also working very much with Muslim organizations. So you end up with that want to destroy also Christianity and Judaism. And this is true. It's amazing because you see this gays for Hamas, or gays for
Yes,
Palestine. Yeah,
LGBTQ for Allah.
yeah, say, well, send them to Gaza. They will be killed
Yes,
instantaneously.
yes. You know, economists warn that massive tax hikes could devastate your IRA and 401k account as the stock market braces for impact. With inflation on the rise and global uncertainty looming, it's clear why the central banks and savvy Americans are turning to gold. In times like this, Proverbs 21:20 reminds us to preserve what we've built. Right now, that wisdom points us towards gold. If you haven't had your eye on gold, time to make it a priority. Again, Michele Tafoya here, urging you to call my friends at Priority Gold to find out how they can help you diversify your savings with physical gold and silver. Call 1-800-405-GOLD, or visit prioritygold.com/golden for a free gold info guide. Plus, see if you qualify for free shipping and storage. Act now to get your portfolio working for you while the market is golden. Call 1-800-405-GOLD to speak with a gold specialist or visit prioritygold.com/golden to learn more. That's 1-800-405-GOLD.
Or to Iran, or to Yemen, or to wherever.
The ignorance is stunning to me, and we have seen lately that a lot of this is fomented, is propagated through higher institutions of learning, like Harvard that you mentioned, and other places.
But Soros himself, through the Open Society, has been funding directly and indirectly even programs for high schools to go out and demonstrate for Hamas in San Francisco and elsewhere. And they were sending out actually information to high schools on how, talking points, how to demonstrate, where to disrupt the peace, in which places to do this. This is very detailed instructions for Hamas is actually called in Arabic, it's a Islamic resistance movement. So what they are teaching also is resistance. This is the Marxist resistance.
Right. All of this is so flabbergasting to me that someone would take the freest country on earth and try to turn it into something completely different.
Well, when he first came out and he spoke on behalf of drug legalization, I wrote an article in the Wall Street Journal and different articles elsewhere, and and I asked, well, why does somebody who claims that he wants an open society is advocating the biggest slavery ever, drug addiction? Because if you are addicted to drugs, your soul, your mind, your body, everything is enslaved. And I said that he probably will be able to get away with it because of his wealth, because people respect him, because he's a financial maverick. And I said that unchallenged, Soros will be able to change the political landscape of the United States. I said it in 1995? I didn't have a crystal ball, but I immediately recognized that this was a much, much bigger plan. And that was my warning. Unfortunately, it was not heeded by anybody.
Rachel, are we too late now? Or how do we have enough spine in this country to counteract it?
I don't know that we do have. I would hope so. Unfortunately, there is a very urgent need to change track. And if the Democrats elected in the next, I don't know that actually, I don't know if we have enough time. This is kind of urgent. And what happened now with the breakout of anti-Semitism is because anti-Semitism is not only against Jews. Initially, yes, it is. It's anti-Jewish hate. And Soros, by the way, does not approve of the Jewish state of Israel. He has been funding directly and indirectly organizations that are supportive of Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad and the BDS, and supporting the Palestinian lawyers for Hamas. It is truly mind-boggling. And his son is actually continuing to do the same, and they funded organizations that are anti-Israel organizations. They don't say that, but they are funding actually organizations that oppose Zionism. Well, Zionism is Judaism, okay? The Zion is the country. Zion is Israel. Okay, so it's truly amazing what is going on. And the Biden administration, Biden didn't say anything about what Hamas has done. The White House issued a statement. Wonderful. Where is Biden? He's no. I mean, I didn't hear any statement from Biden. Nothing.
He's running away from that, being cornered by that other part of his base that is very pro-Palestinian. And
Yeah. It's pro-Hamas, it's pro-Islam, it's pro-radical Islam. And nobody says, they say, many people, Republicans and conservatives are talking about, well, this is terrible ideology, we have to do something about this ideology, and it's the woke ideology, and the Marxists underlying. Well, what the radical Muslims have done, they actually took the left on a ride, okay? They use the left in order to promote their agenda, but they don't actually compromise with anything. They don't support, if you speak with their leaders, etc., gays, raping women is from the Quran. It's okay. You should do that. Raping 9-year-old girls. Muhammad had a 9-year-old wife. So if the Prophet had done that, that's okay. I mean, you should emulate the Prophet. That's good. Not every Muslim is thinking like that. Not every Muslim believes that. But the radicals are promoting it. And what the left is doing is promoting what the radical Islamists are doing. And it's very important for every Christian, Hindu, you name it. Non-religious, Presbyterian, whoever, anybody who does not believe in ISIS and what Hamas has done should be very, very wary, because you are next.
That's what the echo seems to be. It will not stop at the Jews. It will not stop at Israel. Anyone who isn't practicing this Islamic jihad, this very extreme.
And their leaders in the United States, religious leaders, etc., are saying no. What we need is really everybody should convert to Islam.
Which religious leaders are saying that?
Muslim religious leaders.
Okay.
And professors at the universities, because it's not only the religion of peace. I mean, it is truly, the United States is really facing really existential danger on several levels, and bringing also all these and destroying the country by opening the border and having what we don't know how many millions came in. It's between, 13 and 20 million. I like it when we hear guesstimates of how many gotaways are there. Well, you don't know how many people came in. So how can you guesstimate on something that you don't know what you don't know, right? But, and how many of them are radical Muslim? We hear now about people from Syria, from Egypt, Palestinians, Libyans, Yemenites, people from, this is in addition to Chinese, but what is happening here is the destruction of the society, the culture, whatever American culture was. There was an American culture, and everything now is being dismissed, and it is truly,
well, it's being rebranded as white supremacy. That the American culture is based on the original sin and white supremacy.
But there is no, the country, there is no, where is the country? There is no country anymore. I had a cab driver in New York from Senegal yesterday, and he said, well, I came here, I'm a cab driver here for 15 years, and this was a place where you can actually live. And look what happened. Not only mayor in New York and the governor that no bail and criminals are all over the streets. He's a cab driver, he knows. But he said, what is happening here? Why is all the open borders? He said, no, he's going back to Senegal. He doesn't want to be here.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, this was very interesting, and there are many people actually who came here. I came here from Israel, and I mean, what is happening here is dangerous, and it's unsustainable culturally as well, because Western culture, Judeo-Christian values, everything that America has contributed to the wealth, justice, democracy in the world, everything is being thrown away, and very much with the help of Mr. Soros, which is still, it's still, I mean, I wrote about his agenda, about his plans, about his strategy, how did he do the things, and this is why it's important to read it so you can counter
Yes.
it. But it's hard to get it out. So I'm glad that you are actually having this
Well,
program.
I'm really glad for.
To inform the public.
Yes, we need to get people to understand this, and that's kind of why I wanted this to be sort of uh, George Soros 101, for lack of a better term. But Rachel, before I let you go, I'm afraid that if people will read your book and they'll come away scared, startled, alarmed, depressed.
I know you read the book,
Yes,
okay?
but what
I
I want to know is, how can people translate all of this
study
information into a
study.
counter, sort of
Yes.
as a way to fight against what's going on here, which.
All right. Don't vote Democrat. And I don't. I'm apolitical. I'm not voting for anybody. Okay, but don't vote Democrat, because they are actually the ones who have been targeted, and they are the ones who were receptive for what Soros and the left, the radical left and the neo-Marxists are doing. And but if you read the book, you will see how how the strategy, what kind of strategy Soros used, and how he implemented it. And it's not difficult to read. It's not complicated. I really wrote. I just gave examples. I didn't list everything, and I, of course, didn't list all the money that he has given to anybody. It's impossible. You don't know. But I gave really I identified the fingerprints, and if you read the book, you identify those fingerprints, and whenever you see and you hear politicians, now we are going for elections locally, nationally, anybody talking like that, anybody wants to take away your individual
Yeah.
freedom, your children, control on what you are cooking, control what you can eat, control what kind of car you can have if you have money left. Oppose it, and vote for people who actually hopefully not only promise but also would act to dismiss all this. And we need to change the educational
No
system,
question.
because and this is why Soros is paying now to organizations in high schools. I'm sure that they are doing it also in libraries and elementary schools as well. So a former student of mine came here and told me how her kids in kindergarten were not taught anything before Thanksgiving about Thanksgiving. So they came and said, "Well, what is
Yeah.
Thanksgiving? We don't know what it is." No, so they went back and they asked, "So why not?" They asked the teacher to say something about it, and she said, "Well, they were the pilgrims. All of them were very bad
Yeah.
people."
Yeah. Yeah.
So he
It,
said, "Well, all of them." Said, "Well, there was one. I mean,
it's
American history, civics has to be
yes.
taught. Geography,
Yes, in geography and world geography, and there's so much, and
yeah,
instead we're teaching pronouns and activism,
brainwashing
and
people."
yes, it's devastating. It's a sad state of affairs. I hope people will stiffen their spines and say we're not going to do this anymore, because it does seem like we are we've got to turn around a ship that is very difficult to turn around. Rachel, I'm so appreciative. The book is The Soros Agenda, and it's so important to get a glimpse of what this movement of his is all about. And I'm glad someone wrote it, Rachel. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.